And today, after what will probably be a short talk, can people hear me okay? Yeah, okay. We're going to do one of the traditional ceremonies in our family way, although we won't do it in the traditional fashion, believe me, but a modified and simplified version. The ceremony that honors the two founders, usually regarded as Dogen Senji, and then his lineal disciple, Keizan Senji. And when you participate in the abbot for a day ceremony at Eiheiji, it's a very solemn moment where you go up and you're in the founder's hall and you climb this rather impressive altar, these steps. Before you approach the altar, it's funny, it's like a theatrical scrim. It's like a curtain that you can see through, and then when it's time to go forward, some unseen person rolls it up. And as it rolls up, there's a little bell that goes ding, 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 ding. And then there you are facing this enormous altar, and there are two doors which are opened and reveal the memorial tablets. And so you go up and you make solemn bows. It's quite impressive, actually. And you can actually have a feeling of, 800 years of history behind this, and then back beyond that into the ungraspable past. So all of this is part of what we inherit. But maybe not the most important part. This past week, I was undergoing some medical events at Kaiser, and these preparations for having your innards looked at are quite unpleasant. And then feeding yourself into the medical mechanism to be kind of churned around, chewed up, and spat out again is also kind of unpleasant. Nice people, though, very nice people. So, as I say, there was a fair amount of physical discomfort and inconvenience. And I wish I could say that my practice of the Buddha way in the midst of these circumstances was absolutely sterling and perfect. But I can't say that. In fact, I have to confess, I spent quite a bit of time imagining when this would be over and I would be released from this kind of the posture of the victim, and they would let me go. So I'm afraid I was not, that I know of, kind of cruising along in a state of samadhi from beginning to end. That was not happening. However, it was another occasion for me to appreciate what Suzuki Roshi called the little difference. Have you heard that referred to before? No, nobody?
The difference?
Huh? The little difference.
When he had a cancer?
No, well, probably, but that's not what he was referring to specifically. Does anybody remember here? No?
That's the idea that the practice just makes ever slight.
That's right.
Difference.
Practice makes a little difference, but that difference is so important. And I saw that again. Now, what that difference is probably could be the topic for a lot of maybe not very helpful discussion. There could also be some disagreement. But it has something to do with the persisting resonance of Buddha's amazing insight into reality and how we practice with and embody that in our own unfolding of the Buddha way. It's something like, I don't know. I didn't think about how to express this, so I'm just making it up as I go along. But it's something like, you're in a kind of a tight place, a small box, and yet what the Chinese call Shin and the Japanese call Shin, and we sometimes translate as mind or heart, sees somehow beyond the walls of that so-called box. Mind or heart knows that those walls are imagined. And that's maybe one way to reflect on the little difference. And the smaller the box, the more important the difference is. So what is this to do with our ordinary day-to-day practice? Most of us don't experience ourselves all the time, or even very often, or maybe hardly ever, as being in such a box. Now, of course, Buddha said, well, actually, you are. You just don't notice. That box is called samsara, among other things. But mostly, we don't experience ourselves as in some tight place. It's just have a nice Saturday afternoon, you know. No boxes. At least not right now. So if there's no box, where's the difference? Well, one way to look at it is there's a kind of a box, right? There's a kind of a boundary between, say, this person and everything else. And those are walls. There are walls of a sort there. So whether we appreciate it or not, when we are engaged in maybe more, I don't know, focused, formal practice, the mind or the heart, again, sees through those walls. And I'm suggesting, even if you don't think it's so, even if you tell yourself, well, I don't see that. I don't see through any walls. I would say, actually, what you're seeing is through those walls. Now, maybe I don't know, the quantum connection between, as Dogen Zenji said, between practice and its verification. Maybe you think that's still theoretical. But it is definitely not just theoretical. So when we are sitting, for instance, together in the Zendo, what we are seeing is no walls. And again, there is just a little difference. But for people of the way, that difference is indispensable. Maybe another way to speak of that is, it's like, I don't know if it's identical, But it's like the profound trust in Buddha Dharma that develops over time. Not because you've convinced yourself to, believe it, but because the body-mind resonates with that truth. This is what Mahayanists mean when they say, Buddha is still teaching. The Buddha way is still unfolding. And yeah, Buddha looked like he went into nirvana, or parinirvana rather. That was just for the benefit of those particular people in that particular circumstance. In fact, Buddhas, just like the rest of us, do not actually arrive and leave. And this living artery of the teaching is it's beyond our belief or disbelief. And quite unexpectedly, at some time, you may just have some sense, just arising or coming out of nowhere that, Shakyamuni Buddha, his teaching is right. His description of reality is right. Your own body-mind is saying, yes, it is so. That too, maybe, is the little difference. Springing to life over and over again. What's that old poem? Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Well, actually they do. If you talk to someone in prison, you might get a spirited argument. Except there is a little difference. Maybe another way to say it is that little difference is about that aspect of the body-mind that cannot be captured. So I think at some point on Wednesday, I was asking myself, well, is that little difference enough? And I said to myself, actually, it is. That tiny little difference changes everything. And because of this little difference, we say to our old friends, Dogen and Keizan, thank you for what you did and are doing. Essentially, all of these ceremonies are only about saying thank you. I was showing Cato upstairs the operator's manual from the Soto Shu, the Soto school in Japan. It's like this thick. And it's full of ceremonies and how you do this and how you do that and how you use this and how you use that. And it's all about saying thank you. Part of that is me saying thank you to you for participating in this mysterious practice together. And those of you who can help us financially, there's this old saying in Buddha Dharma, there's the Dharma wheel, the wheel of the teaching, which turns and turns. And there's something called the wheel of nourishment. And they keep each other turning. Without the wheel of nourishment, it's pretty hard for the Dharma wheel to continue turning in such a way that many, many people will benefit. So those of you who can help, you have my thanks. And whether you can contribute financially or not, you're helping. During one of the weekly ceremonies at the monastery at Tassajara, the cantor announces this. The wheel of the Dharma turns and turns. Thanks to Buddha, of course, thanks to Dogen and Keizan, but thanks to you as well. I see one of our electronic visitors. Roland-san has a beautiful Siamese cat. Sorry, you all can't see that, but Cato has arranged for another TV, which we will get working, we hope, this week, so that people who are in the Zendo can also see the electronic folks who are here by way of streams of electrons. So we'll look forward to that. Well, maybe that's enough for now. If there are some questions or comments, that's fine, and then we'll do our short ceremony of saying thank you. Now, Hokai-san.
Thank you. Thanks for your talk. My question's about this. You know, I understand the box you're speaking of. I don't know why it's getting so much echo. And sometimes on the path, like on retreat or meditation or whatever, we might see that we're in this box and have a moment of being free. And and that's great. But then we go back, or at least my experience is I go back into the box. So it's almost like I don't want someone to tell me, or I don't want to see that I'm in that box because I have to go back in unless I could actually just stay out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you're speaking of a particular kind of psychophysical experience, which
Yeah.
is perfectly valid, but the little difference is not confined by that. So when you say, oh, but then I go back in the box, actually you don't. I know it may feel like it, or you may think that that's so, but the extraordinary power of the little difference is seeing that actually that's just some idea I have. That does not affect reality. So if, for some of us, maybe it's when we are lying on a gurney, and we're about to be subjected to some procedure or other, maybe that's a very excellent time, for that insight to be trusted. Right? So if, for now, if we accept that Suzuki Roshi and others who have spoken of the little difference in that, phraseology or some other, they weren't kidding. That's really how it is. To go on trusting that will, eventually sustain the sense that, oh, yes, there is that little difference. And I'm not really in a box except in a kind of, I don't know what, a habit of the body-mind tells me I'm in a box. But actually, reality is a little bit different. And that difference is crucial. So I would say, your experience of going back in the box, keep your diamond third eye on that experience and see if it's maybe actually not that convincing. There's a gap there somewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Aaron-san? No?
Myō, I have no question at present.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Vimalakirti's profound silence is pervading our atmosphere. That's fine. Okay, so we just need a couple of minutes to light some extra candles to say thank you with, and some charcoal, and then we'll have our little ceremony, and you're all welcome to remain. Thank you very much.